Yeah, well, let's move down to some game covers from last week. I know we were at a lot, especially on Wednesday. But yeah, Dane, why don't you get into your game on Tuesday with Tremont and Delavan?
Yeah, I saw Tremont win 10-0 at home. The Chase Rhodes came away as the MVP of this game. He threw a five-inning complete game shutout while striking out seven batters, allowing one hit and two walks. Rhodes did all of this in 71 pitches with a 71.8% strike percentage. His fastball sat 87-89 while topping out at 90 with arm side run, mixing a slider that sat 72-75 with depth and sweeping action. Also showed a curveball that sat 67-69 with sharp actions. He continues to be a 2026 that we keep our eye on. The key moment of this game is Blaine Williams launching a two-run home run in the bottom of the fourth to give Turks some more insurance runs. Hunter Smith followed up with an RBI single in the center field, and then Chase Rhodes would drive in the final run with a line drive into left field that would end up being an error. That was kind of the icing on the cake for them. A prospect highlight I'd like to shout out is Griffin Meeker, 2026 shortstop for Tremont. Meeker went 2 for 3 with a double on Tuesday. Operates from a wide balanced base, loose, fluid hands with a compact swing. Showed pull side power throughout the game with a gap to gap approach. Also a smooth defender at short with a strong arm to match.
Yeah, Dane, and then on Wednesday, you were over at Sacred Heart to watch Glenwood versus SHG, and that was a big one for you as you saw Cam Appenzeller.
Well,
Yeah,
and even before you get going, Dane, like this was what, the third outing for Appenzeller of the spring. They've brought him along really slow. He's our number one ranked prospect in the senior class. I want to say still one of, if not the top arm that we have ranked in the national rankings, especially left-handed. So high level prospect we're talking here, committed to Tennessee. We got to look at his first outing, missed his second outing, but he was up to 55, 60 pitches here in his third. And yeah, Dane, I was really curious to see what you had from this.
yeah. So Glenwood came away with a win for this game, 7-3 victory over Sacred Heart Griffin. The MVP of this game was Dylan Huff. Huff impressed at the plate. As he went 2 for 3 with two extra base hits, including a home run. Showed a gap-to-gap approach, strong hands with a compact swing. Showed off his pull side power with a two-run home run. Also hopped on the mound in relief and threw 87-89. That 87-89. The key moment of this game was Linwood got the scoring started in the top of the third with Huff collecting an RBI double into left field. And then in the next at bat, Colton Nodler, their catcher, drove in a run with an infield single. And then Cameron Appenzeller drove in the third run of the inning with a sac fly. A couple prospect highlights I'd like to shout out is Appenzeller, who struck out five batters through four scoreless innings, allowing four hits and no walks. Has a very repeatable swing, very repeatable delivery with easy actions, long, clean arm action from a low three-quarter slot. Fastball set 89-91 while topping out at 92, mixing a slider that sat 77-79 with depth and sweeping action. Uh, Showed a changeup in between innings that sat 81-82, and then as I stated, Appenzeller went 1 for 3 with a double while driving in a run with a sac fly. And then another guy was Grady Mueller. He was just on the barrel all day. Was a very important part of Glenwood's win. He went 3 for 3 with two extra base hits. Strong hands with the compact swing, whole fields approach. Just showed a strong arm during pregame as well. 2026 name to keep an eye on for that Glenwood team as well.
Yeah, and then Dane, on that same trip, you were moving down in Southern Illinois. You went to Springfield, and then on Thursday and Friday, you were down in the Edwardsville area. So, what do you got on those games?
Yeah, on Thursday I saw Belleville West play against Edwardsville, who was number six at the time. Belleville West went 2-1 in that game. The MVP of that game was Casey Foltz, a Lewis and Clark commit 2025. He impressed at the plate and on the mound. At the plate, he went 2 for 4 with strong hands, pure swing that's long through the zone. Connected on a single in each of his first two plate appearances, and also showed off a patient approach with a walk in his fourth. Smooth defender at short, and then hopped on the mound in relief and threw 2 scoreless innings, allowing 2 hits and no walks while striking out 1 batter. And he sat low 80s with his fastball. The key moment of this game, after a 45-minute weather delay, the top of the 8th was resumed with a runner on first for Belleville West. Third baseman Adam Bilzing connected on a single, which would advance the runner at first to third base, and the second baseman Max Fiesel would connect on a grounder to the right side of the infield to score the winning run. A couple prospect highlights. Hunter Ball, 2026 from Edwardsville, started on the mound for the Tigers. He struck out 8 batters through 6 innings, allowing 5 hits, 1 earned run, and 2 walks. Sat 83-86 with straight actions, mixing the curveball that sat 71-73 with late actions. Had a 66% strike percentage on 96 pitches. And also at the plate, he went 1 for 3 with a walk. Flat bat path that is direct to the ball with quality bat to ball abilities, and showed his pull side power with a deep fly out into left field. Interesting two-way to keep an eye on in that 2026 class. And then another guy to shout out is Max Waltenberger, who had quite the night on Thursday as he went 3 for 4 at the plate. Strong hands, direct to the ball with an uphill bat path, showed quality bat control with the gap-to-gap approach, sent the ball back up the middle for his first single in the bottom of the first, and then connected on a double into the right center gap in the bottom of the 8th to try to get that Tiger offense going. And he continues to be an impact bat in the middle of that order for one of the top offenses in the state.
All right, and then on Wednesday, I was over at Illinois State for a matchup between number 15 Normal Community and number 23 Normal U High. Normal Community won that game 3-0. Jonah Roper was the MVP of that game. Complete game shutout with 5 strikeouts and only 1 hit allowed. And I think the most impressive thing from his outing was he threw 66 pitches in 7 innings, and 51 of them were strikes. I don't know if you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's probably one of the most efficient outings that I have ever seen. Like,
can you say that again? What was the number?
66 pitches in 7 innings, and he threw 51 strikes.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. That's a lot of early contact. Yeah. Definitely.
It was really impressive, and especially against a good team too with U High. But so that was my MVP. The key moment of the game was in the top of the 3rd inning when the Ironman scored. Normal Community scored on back-to-back-to-back plays. Max Heineman delivered an RBI double in the game. Drew Stevens followed with an RBI infield single, and then Gavin Michaels capped it off with an RBI single, and these were the only runs of the game, and they ultimately won 3-0. The big play of the game, and I guess just to add a little bit here, Lucas Beatty, he's a 2027, Kyle Beatty's younger brother, really impresses me just at third base defensively. He looks a lot like Kyle with the frame, and they move very similar. They're just both athletes that with some strength. But Lucas made a really tough play on a foul ball, pop fly, and it kind of went into Normal Community's dugout on the third base side. And he kind of reached over the fence and grabbed it for an out. But it was a really impressive play. I wish I had video of it, but I did not get it, unfortunately. But go ahead, Drew.
I saw it. Somebody had video of it, Gavin.
Oh, okay.
So there was something floating around social media, and it was actually from the third base line down past the dugout going back towards home. So you can see him reach over the dugout, make the catch, and then the little mini celebration afterwards. Really, really cool play, especially a sophomore doing that. Like, I felt like he made it look easier than it even was, which was impressive. But yeah. I don't know who tweeted it, so sorry for that, somebody out there that did tweet it or post it on X. You may want to just check it out, but it is floating around there somewhere for anybody interested.
Yeah, he's really impressed me. I think I've seen Community now 3 times this year, and Lucas just continues to look better each time, especially at the plate. I think defensively is where he's really impressed me so far this year, but then at the plate, it's just a pretty compact swing with strength and kind of power. But my prospect spotlight from this game, giving a shout out to catcher Drew Stevens, commutative outpo. And I think the thing that really impresses me with Drew is just that defensively, he just continues to get better. Like, he's got a strong arm behind the plate, and it just plays on a line it plays true to the bag. I got a 207 pop in between innings. But just again, I just love the way that it plays. It really goes right to the bag, and it's accurate. And then he works hard behind the plate. He's a communicator. You can tell he's kind of like their vocal leader when he's back there behind the dish. And then at the plate too, I know he has been ticking up at the plate, getting kind of showing some really easy power from the right side. I did not see that in this game, but I just know that he's been doing that this year for the Ironmen. So that's Drew Stevens. He's my prospect spotlight, 2026 committed to Valpo. But that is my game on Wednesday. Normal Community won 3-0. But just one thing I wanted to note too is like with it being a crosstown rivalry at ISU, it was kind of a later game, started at 6 p.m. if I remember right. But it was awesome. The community showed up. A lot of people at that game. ISU was packed. It was chippy back and forth, but in a good way. So I really enjoyed it. It was awesome seeing the city of Normal come out and watch some baseball on a Wednesday night. But that's what I got on my game. So Hammond, I'll toss it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Gab. I saw JCA and Marist, so trying to soak in some ESCC action while we can before it is no longer conference. But JCA won that one 6-1.
Hammond, can I actually hop in real quick?
Sure can.
So we'll get to this later, but I went out to NAS Saturday and was talking with Coach Milano before the game, and actually the ESCC being no more is starting in 2027. I think we've been saying as soon as next year, but they are officially going over to the CCL starting in 2027. So
Gotcha.
Just want to throw that out there.
Appreciate that. We still got to soak in as much as we can. But so for this one, like I mentioned, JCA won 6-1. My MVP is going to be just JCA's arms. It was Ian Campbell and Brady Tunkel. They combined for a one-hitter. So Campbell, he was the starter. He threw 4 1/3 innings, just allowed the one hit, and he walked 5 and struck out 7. And then Brady Tunkel, he was in relief. He threw 2 1/3 innings with 1 strikeout, no hits or runs allowed. The key moment in this one, it was a pitcher's duel for a long, long time. It was knotted at 1 1/5, and then the Hill were able to grab the lead for good. Lucas Simulik, he played a run on a fielder's choice and made it 2-1. And then Ryan Yursich followed with an RBI double, and it pushed it to 5-1. And that was kind of, that was really all they would need, but they would add another one. In the bottom of the 6th, an RBI single from Matt Simmons, who played at Johnny Kurbis, who singled earlier, and it made it 6-1, put the game out of reach. But my prospect spotlights in this one, I'm going to have to go with Ian Campbell for one. I mean, he was sitting 90-92. It's a big fastball. It's right at you. He's a big-time football prospect as well. He's an edge outside linebacker, I believe. He can really, really move for that size, like down the mound. It's super athletic. I'm a big fan. Like I said, 90-92, it was a little bit effectively wild. Like the 5 walks is maybe not as, it makes it seem worse than it actually was from like a strike standpoint, because I thought it was competitive. And he showed a little changeup too in the low 80s and a slider around 80. Slider's kind of developing spin still, but I mean, if he can get a true second pitch, I mean, he's getting outs with just the fastball right now. Like he doesn't need a second pitch, but if he did, I think it would take him to an even higher level. But I'm also going to mention Aiden Flynn here. It was, I think, my first look at him ever in person, actually. And I came away really impressed. He's every bit as 6'6", held upper 80s. I had him up to 89. I know a scout next to me had a couple 90s, but he was holding upper 80s with sink and command of the arm side. It was just like a ton of downer angle on it. I really liked the fastball. I thought it paired really well with his slider that was playing kind of in the 75 to 79 mile an hour range. But it's big projection with him. I mean, it's super long levered and easy movement patterns. Like, I thought it was kind of deceptive too, the way he kind of hides it on the backside and it kind of just jumps at you. But really big fan of Aiden. His best days are surely still ahead of him.
Yeah, and then I can hop in here on Wednesday. I actually went out to Morris, saw them take down Caneland 6-1, and I mean, for me, MVP has to be Jack Wheeler. He's a 2025 going to Illinois. Dominant outing just on both sides of the ball, really. He got the ball to start on the mound, and he shoved. Thought he threw the ball really well against Caneland. A ton of strikes. His line, he got the win. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 walks, 1 run. It was unearned. And then 6 strikeouts. And then with the bat, which is kind of what he's known for. I want to say he's up to maybe double-digit jacks this year, or he's close. But 2 for 4, double, 2 RBIs. Feel like when he hits the ball, it's loud almost every time. But man, also leads into my turning point of the game. Top of the 6th, right? Kaneland finally gets on the board. They've got the bases loaded, 2 outs. Guy right before this final out gets an infield single. Okay, Kaneland's starting to get some momentum and work their way back into the game, and Wheeler comes up with a big strikeout to seal the deal of that inning and really just leave the momentum there. And from there, Morris was able to take care of business. Prospect highlights for me, really like 1 through 6 of Morris's lineup, like they all raked when I was out there. Zimi Baftiri, 2025 going to Evansville. Brett Bounds, 2025 going to Purdue Northwest. Baftiri plays shortstop, plays a good shortstop. Bounds, center fielder. Really big time arm from out there, I thought. Griffin Weirs, 2025 going to Lewis. He caught for him. Liked what he did, both with the bat and behind the dish. Colin Pfeiffer, 2025 going to Purdue Northwest. Left-handed hitter, was their DH. All over the barrel. Thought he took really great at-bats as well. There was this one at-bat. It was like 8 or 9 pitches. He's fouling stuff off. Finally draws a walk in kind of like a big spot. Kept just, pass the bat to the next guy in the Morris lineup, and they just continue to produce. Mick Smith, 2027 for Morris. He had a couple knocks. Moving over to Kaneland, Cannon Baxley. This guy's kind of been tearing it up all spring for them as a freshman. Liked what I saw. Now listen, like he didn't light up the stat sheet, but just from like a prospect perspective, like really liked the actions on the infield. With the bat, he's a right-handed hitter. I felt like his first at bat, he was maybe a little overmatched by Wheeler, but he really seemed to settle down, and I thought he made some sort of adjustment at the plate, because after that first at bat, it looked like he was holding his own against Wheeler. Then Preston Popovich, 2025, he's going to Benedictine, playing third base for Kaneland, and like made all sorts of great defensive plays over there. For me, I think the biggest play he made was one he didn't actually make. It was there's this foul ball over on the third baseline. Goes into foul territory, just gets over the fence and like just passes outstretched glove. And like to me, it was like, wow, that was kind of big time. Like I know he didn't make the play, but for him to be that close, he to show off the range and to get over there, and then he almost came up with the play. But to me, thought he was just awesome defensively. He made a couple diving grabs over there at third base as well. And one was in a key spot, I want to say. Morris had guys in scoring position and, kept the ball in the infield and kept those guys from getting hits. So, that's what I got.
And then moving over to Thursday, Tyler, I know you were out to catch Naperville Central and Mattea Valley. What do you got on that game?
Yeah, Naperville Central took down Mattea Valley 7-5. For me, it was cool. Never seen either of those teams play yet since I've been doing this. But MVP for me is Colin Hay, center fielder for Naperville Central. He went 2 for 3, had a double, a walk, and 3 RBI. And obviously those 3 runs he drove in loom large when you win by 2. But for me, turning point in this game was the 4-run first inning that the Red Hawks put up in the first inning. Just a ton of really good at-bats, which, in turn put a bunch of pressure on Mattea Valley from that point forward and really gave Naperville Central's arms a ton of breathing room throughout the rest of the game just to have that cushion. But, those 4 runs, like I said, a bunch of really good at-bats that inning. They were taking their walks, not a ton of expanding the zone, and just taking what they were given from the opposing pitcher. But prospects to know from this one. Troy Cashel, he is the first baseman for North Central. He's a 2025. He's actually going to North Central to play football. And it's easy to see why. He is a very, physically imposing kid on the baseball field. Matt Riley, catcher for Mattia Valley. He's a 2025 going to Illinois Tech. Really liked it behind the dish, and then offensively he leads off for the Mustangs and was really all over the barrel to the pull side in this one. But defensively, thought he really looks apart back there. He had a couple throws down to second where he wasn't rewarded on the stat sheet, but it seemed like if Mattia Valley's arms could just hold the run game just a smidge better, he probably would have thrown out a couple guys Thursday night. Tyler Gluding, 2027 from Mattia Valley. He is currently ranked very high by us, and with the bat, man, it was really impressive. He's actually a two-way, but left-handed hitter, all sorts of feel for the barrel, and uses the whole field, just ton of bat to ball there. He was also up to 91 in the outing as well. And then both shortstops, Cooper Page for Naperville Central and Armand Shaw for Mattia Valley. Shaw is a 2025 uncommitted, and Page is an uncommitted 2026. I just felt like both of them played shortstop really well. Ton of smooth and natural actions. Felt like there were a couple times, for Naperville Central where runners on base, there'd be a ground ball, critical spots in the game, and Page would just look very like he could slow the game down and just play on time and make plays look easy and routine over there. So that's what I got. If you want any more in-depth breakdowns on these guys, just a reminder for everyone that we do publish a scout blog from every game we go see. So just want to throw that out there.
All right, and then looking over at Friday, Dane, I know you were still down in that area, and you saw Highland and Teutopolis. So what do you got there?
I saw Highland pick up the victory over Teutopolis 6-3. The MVP of this game was Nolan Hutchins, who came out of the pen for a multi-inning save through 3 shutout innings, allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and struck out 4. The key moment of this game was Garen Stone driving in the first run of the game on a fielder's choice. And then the next at bat, Caden Lacrone laid down a bunt back to the pitcher and would end up at second on a throwing error, which would score 2 more for the Bulldogs. And then Blake Yelly would cap off a 4-run inning with a line drive into right field to score Lacrone. So a couple mistakes by Teutopolis ended up giving the edge to Highland in this game. A couple prospect highlights I'd like to shout out is Jason Krecky, catcher for 2026 catcher for Teutopolis. Went 1 for 2 with an RBI and 2 hit by pitches. Right-hander that showed quality bat to ball abilities in the middle of the order. Easy power, drilled a line drive down the third base line for an RBI single. And then Caleb Detters, 2027 right-hander for Teutopolis, threw 5 shutout innings in relief, allowed 1 hit, 3 walks, and struck out 1 batter. Fastball sat 81-83 while topping out 85, mixing a changeup that sat 76-78 with some splitter action. And then he's an upside right-hander that showed well, though.
Yeah, and then looking at Saturday, I saw East Peoria and Normal U High on Saturday morning. East Peoria won that game 7-2. The MVP was no doubt R.J. Duncan, Illinois State commit for East Peoria. 2 for 3 in the game with a home run, a triple, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. And then he also threw an inning in relief there at the end. He closed it out. Kind of his bullpen to get ready for this week. But he's up to 90, and the slider is just still really, really good. Very sharp, swing and miss type pitch. But just brief look there at Duncan on the mound. And then the key moment of the game really was the first 2 innings. The Raiders scored 5 runs in those 2 innings, and it really just set the table for that game. It kind of almost, you could kind of tell like it just really hurt U-High, their squad kind of like just going down 5-0 early. So that was probably the key moment of the game. And then prospect spotlight, Jackson Aarons was my prospect of the week, I believe a few weeks back. Really impressed with him again. Just the frame, the athleticism. Went 1 for 4 at the plate, scored a run, like it defensively at shortstop. And he's a 3-sport guy, plays football, basketball, and baseball. I think there's still a lot more to come. He looks pretty young, but another guy, third baseman, Griffin Meyer for U-High. He's a 2026. Went 2 for 2 in the game with a double, a run scored, and a walk. Right-handed hitter, pretty easy swing, pretty compact, pretty short to the ball. And then he, does well over there at third base too. pretty confident defender. I know last year I saw him a couple times too and was impressed. So continuing to do it there for U-High as Griffin Meyer. But yeah, East Peoria took down Power 25 team U-High 7-2. So that's what I got on Saturday.
Yeah, and then I teased this earlier, but I was over at NAS on Saturday, watched them take down Huntley 9-1. MVP for me, now listen, I did this, I'm pretty sure it was the same exact scenario when I went and saw them a couple weeks ago, but it's that 1-2-3 at the top of the Roadrunners order with Tomey, Fauski, and Roche. Listen, they combined to go 5 for 9. Each of them hit a triple. Each of them drew a walk. And then combined, they had 4 RBIs and 4 runs scored. But listen, if those 3 are going to hit like that as we enter tournament play, like, watch out. Like, I know for us, last couple weeks they've kind of been a little up and down. But, man, when those 3 get going, it's really fun to watch just from where I sit. I feel like they all kind of play off each other as well in the lineup. Tomey leads off the game with a walk. Fauski hits a triple, drives him in. Roche draws a walk, and then he later triples in the game. It's just really fun to watch those 3 go at it. But turning point in this one, Naz put up 5 runs in the first inning, and really from there, there was no looking back for them. Fauski really set the tone. Like I said, Tomey leads the game off with a walk, and then Fauski really drives the ball into right with authority for a triple. Looked like a pretty easy triple as well, just sitting there. Watching him run around the bases, man, he can really move. And I just felt like the rest of the lineup followed suit from there. A bunch of good at-bats. Very good situational hitting as well, which probably isn't much of a surprise with a well-coached program like NAS. But for me, that was a turning point. Prospects to know. Not going to go crazy here. Like, Landon Tomey continues to look the part as one of the top players in the state and probably the region and the country as a whole. At shortstop, left-handed hitter, I just love watching that guy hit. Really, the same can be said for Jaden Fauski, 2025 going to LSU. If he does, we'll see what happens at the draft here in a couple months. But, man, just physically, it's really impressive. You watch both him and Landon's at-bats, like, just all sorts of maturity there from both those guys. Colin Roche, like, I continue to really like this guy behind the plate. Like, he's going to Harper after this year, and, like, what a get for Harper. I think that's a guy who I would not be surprised if he's able to step right in as a freshman next year and play right away. Like, he's got all sorts of maturity back there behind the plate. And then I've just really liked the at-bats he's put together the 2 times I've seen Naz this year. Connor McKay got the ball to start for Naz, and he's an uncommitted 2026 who's actually going to be my prospect of the week, so stay tuned for that. But I thought he threw the ball really well. James Wasson, 2027, who we've really wanted to see for a while now, and really looked the part, man. The frame is really impressive. 2027, all sorts of loose levers. Was up to 88 for me. Was also spinning in a low 70s breaking ball as well. Drew Highland, 2026 out of NAS, uncommitted, plays center field for them. Thought he took some really good at-bats from start to finish in the game. Want to say he finished 2 for 3 with a double. And then moving over to Huntley, Ryan Dabe, 2025 going to Parkland. He was all over the barrel. 3 for 3. Felt like he was very aggressive in this game, kind of jumping on fastballs and hitters counts. And then Drew Borkowski. This is a highly touted uncommitted 2026 arm for us. Thought he threw the ball really well. Came out of the pen. Now listen, I saw him earlier in the spring, and it wasn't the outing he probably wanted. But man, the adjustments it looks like he's made since then, that was probably a month ago now, to this past Saturday. Really impressive. He was running up to 90 with his fastball, kind of living in that 87 to 89 range. Spinning in a tight slider for strikes. And then I've always been very high on his changeup. It was again more of the same with him with that pitch. So three pitches. To me, it's a starter profile at the next level. So thought he threw the ball really well. So that is what I've got.
I can cap things off here with my game on Saturday. I saw number 14 Lamont take on number 10 Linkaway West at Linkaway West, so a Power 25 matchup. And Lamont actually won this one 5-0. So my MVP is going to be Shea Glotzbach, a senior. He's going to Missouri St. Louis. he threw the whole game, complete game shutout, just allowed 2 hits, walked 2 and struck out 8. And then he also went 2 for 3 at the plate out of their 3-hole with a sac fly. So did a little bit of everything. Good for Shea. And then the key moment of this game, Lamont was able to grab the lead in the second inning, and they really never looked back. I mean, Shea was in complete, he was completely dominant. So all he really needed was 1. But Rocco Luciano, a Trinity commit, he delivered a 2 RBI double to the left center gap and made it 2-0. And then Glotzbach, in the 5th, he would add 1 on a sac fly. And then Grady Garofalo, a junior, he would follow with a 2 RBI single that made it 5-0. But my prospect spotlight, I've got to go with Shea. So I was watching a bit of the Missouri-St. Louis and Lewis game because they faced each other in the first game of the GLBC tournament. And it seemed like almost all the arms that Umsel was running out were low 90s at least. And so Shea, he was sitting 88, 91 early and was still hitting 90 in the 3rd inning. So he should fit right in there, and I think he has a chance to get some innings early on. He was also spinning a low 70s breaking ball. But the thing to me that really stood out is he wants the ball. Like, he is a competitor. He was going right after guys. It was a great look at him. And he looks the part in the 3-hole as well. And he can swing a little bit from the left side. But moving over to Lincoln Way West here for a second, I got a good look at Jackson Mansker. I really liked the hands and the defense on the infield over at third base. And I thought the swing, it is a little longer swing, but it's fluid. There's some length through the zone. But he's going to be a good prospect to follow this summer. So I'm going to throw that out there. But then hopping back to Lamont for a second, Brett Tucker. He really looked the part at shortstop for me. I think he's a true middle guy at the next level, whether it's shortstop or second base. That'll probably be decided, a little later on in his career. But true middle guy. There's range. He's comfortable going to both sides. He had a quick first step, good reads on the ball. Showed some good IQ too. There was a ball right at him, and he was able to cut down a runner going from second to third, take that out instead of going to 1. So good heads-up play there. And then I liked his at-bats. It's a fluid, athletic, right-handed swing, and he could see spin. I thought it was just a good all-around look at him. And I got one more guy here, but he's actually going to be my prospect of the week.